now, sugar. You come on in here. Granny's got a pot of tea steeping. Chamomile tonight, 'cause tonight's story is a heavy one. Pull up that old stool and listen close. You ever wake up in the dark and can't move? You try to shout, but your voice won't work? Some folks call it sleep paralysis. Others call it the devil sitting on your chest. Whichever name you choose, it happened to me once, long ago, on that lonely road between Texas and Florida. It was the fall of 1988. I was driving cross country from West Texas to visit my cousin Diane down in southwest Florida. By the time I hit Houston, I was bone tired, road weary, in that way where even coffee can't keep your eyes open. I pulled off I-10, grabbed a quick supper at a McDonald's, and checked into the first motel I could find. It looked decent enough from the outside, big sign, cheap rates, but the neighborhood felt a little off. You ever get that prickly feeling between your shoulder blades that says you ain't alone? The door lock looked flimsy, so I dragged the dresser across the threshold for good measure. Took a quick shower, said my prayers, and turned out the light. I must have fallen into a deep sleep because the next thing I remember was not a dream. It hit me like a stone. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. Something heavy, solid as a man, cold as death, was pressing on my chest. I tried to scream, but my throat was locked up. Then I saw it, hovering right above me, close enough to feel its breath, was a face. Not human, not even animal, something in between. Skin grayish and stretched thin, eyes black as oil, reflecting that cheap motel lamp. Its mouth twisted like it was trying to speak, but all I heard was a low hiss, like air leaking through teeth. I shut my eyes tight and started praying. Every verse, every hymn I'd ever learned came rushing out inside my head. The Lord is my shepherd, deliver us from evil. And then, as sudden as it came, the weight lifted. I gasped like I'd been drowning. Sweat poured down my neck. I jumped out of that bed, heart slamming like thunder, grabbed my suitcase, and left that room exactly as it was. Didn't even turn off the light. I drove through the night, didn't stop for gas till the sun came up. By the time I reached Diane's house in Florida, I looked half dead myself. She hugged me and said, "Girl, you need some sleep." We sat up late drinking tea, talking about the trip, trying to laugh it off. I went in, took a shower, changed into my nightgown, and went back to join her on the porch. That's when she frowned and said, "B, what are those scratches on your back?" I thought she was teasing, but I turned around, looked in the mirror, and froze. 3 long red scratches down each shoulder blade, angry and fresh. 6 marks like claws. There was no way I could have done that myself. Diane looked pale as milk. I could only whisper, "I told you it wasn't a dream." I've told myself 100 times since that night that it was sleep paralysis, some trick of a tired mind and an overworked body. But ever so often, when I wake between sleep and dawn, and the room feels thick as syrup, I catch a whiff of that same motel soap. And I remember that thing's face leaning in close enough to steal my breath. Maybe it was a nightmare. Maybe it was something that followed me home. Either way, I still don't sleep well in motels. So if you ever wake in the dark and you can't move and the air feels heavy on your chest, don't panic. Just pray. Keep your eyes shut tight and wait for the light. Now that's all for tonight, darling. Granny B will be back next week with another story to keep you wide eyed under the covers.